What's going on, everybody out there on YouTube? It has been a long time since I have made a video. Very long time. Like a really long time. I've had a couple people reach out and ask me where I've been. And to be honest, for a long time, I just lost all my motivation to make videos. I used this word a lot. It was becoming very monotonous to, you know, film the same thing over and over, you know, climbing into my red Volvo, the company truck, climbing into the red Volvo, and then, you know, driving to Allentown, and then from Allentown, driving back to Cincinnati, and then up to Minster for another yogurt load, and then I started to do some other runs too. Like I'd go down to Arkansas. I went down to Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Did a couple loads there. But also over the past couple months, I've really been working on something else. And that was establishing, well, as you could probably tell from the beginning of this video, I'm no longer driving a pretty little red Volvo 780. This is no longer an I-shift. I bought my own truck. Well, technically I'm leasing my own truck. And I am leasing onto a company called PDP Trucking out of Cedar Hill, Texas. Just on the south side of Dallas there. And I'm actually here now. I just went through the first day of orientation, and then tomorrow I'll finish up my orientation. I did not lease the truck through them. I actually leased it through, and everybody's going to have an opinion on it now, especially since they changed their rules. But I leased it through Quality. I'll say this: the only thing I don't like about Quality is the payment. The payment is excessive. It is definitely high, along with, you know, the mandatory down payment now. But I do have to say that since they added a barrier to entry, i.e. the down payment, they have gotten a lot better with their people skills, or, you know, personable, you know, habits. They used to be a rat race. You know, you'd show up there at 8 in the morning when they open. You'd be there with 50 other people. This is just from, you know, stories that I've heard from people that I personally know that have done it, and people that have done it on YouTube. You know, they have to be there first thing when they open, and then they run into the lot, you know, with 50 other drivers, and they have to claim the truck. You know, they have to do this, they have to run back up to the guard shack, say, this is the truck that I want, without really any time to look it over. They had so many people going in and out that Quality didn't have enough time to really thoroughly look over the trucks. Basically, if the truck started and it ran, they put it on the lot as is. Didn't detail it. You know, they didn't fix anything until you found an issue with it, and then, even then it had to be DOT compliant, to be something that was worth fixing. They just wouldn't put any time into the trucks at all, or into the customer. When there was no down payment, and anybody with a heartbeat and a CDL could get a truck. Now it's not that easy. Now you've got to put some skin in the game. You have to be willing to sit through a 3-hour-long class, which I see nothing wrong with it. I mean, if anything else, the class should be longer. But the down payment, those are the two biggest things that I heard people gripe about when they changed their rules back in September of 17, was the down payment and the class. Okay, for one thing, I see nothing wrong with, putting some skin in the game, with a small down payment. I only had to put down $2,000, and then the company I'm leasing to put down $3,000 more, which, I'm technically responsible for the full $5,000 down, but I put down $2,000, and then, the truck that I picked out, there were several that I looked at, and you were actually able to take the time to look them over, and when you look them over, you can tell the trucks look brand new now. They go through a much more thorough detailing process, and they actually are torn apart. Well, I don't want to say torn apart, but they're looked through. They actually spend time on the trucks now to make sure that they are DOT compliant, and that they're in good shape before they put them on the lot. They'll have hundreds of trucks available, but only a few that are technically ready to go, that are that have been conditioned, and they condition them to trade condition, whatever that means, I guess, which is a lot better than they used to do. And on top of that, how they used to have 50 people running in and out. Now they have 3 people a week, 3 drivers a week come in to look at trucks. And so I was the only driver that day that went in there. So the experience was a lot more personable, if you want to use that term. They spent time with me when I looked at the trucks. They gave me a list of trucks that had the options that I wanted, APU, refrigerator, and inverter. And I looked at those, and the one of them that I looked at was these were both 2016s that I test drove, and the one was a Kenworth T680 with 285,000 miles on it. All the options. Nice truck, really was. 13-speed Cummins. I think it was a 336 rear end, which is about the same as what this truck is, the Lone Star. And on the drive, the check engine light came on, which it wasn't a big deal. We took it back to the shop. It started to, wanted to regen after that. So the shop knew exactly what it was. It ended up just being a simple sensor that they replaced while I was there, and they fixed the problem. But I kind of saw that as an omen. The last time I bought a car that the check engine light came on during the test drive, it cost me a lot of money. Even though, it was a simple fix to begin with, it costed me a lot of money. So I went with the Lone Star. The only thing I don't like about it is the weight. It's a heavier truck. Scaled out at 20,000 pounds with a quarter of a tank of fuel, and 21,300 pounds with full tanks. So it's a little heavy, but it's a nice truck. This one has 80,000 fewer miles than the Kenworth, which was another reason why I chose this one. And it has all the options I want. And it really is, dare I say, a beautiful truck, which is why I'm surprised that, Quality has so many of them. I mean, this is like probably their biggest seller or leaser or whatever you want to call it. This is the biggest ticket item that they probably have. And they're nice. This one anyway. And So I picked up this truck, and the weekly payment is excessive. So technically, I'm only going to use this truck as a stepping stone, just to get my foot in the owner-operator door, which is basically what anybody uses the quality trucks for. You know, nobody ever actually pays one of these things off. So, you know, I just wanted to get my place established here at PDP, and then I will, you know, look into actually buying a truck, you know, or I even went to Volvo to talk to them about the full maintenance lease deals, like what Jeffrey Like does, and they were willing to work with me, even though I'm a new owner operator, but they don't have, like, the dealer I went to in Lima, which is the closest dealer to me that has any kind of an inventory. There's one in Dayton, which is a lot closer, but they usually only have like 2 Volvos on the lot. But this one in Lima usually has a good 15 or so. So I went to Lima and spoke to the guy in charge of the leasing department, and apparently every brand new Volvo on that lot was accounted for. They were all spoken for, and apparently up through December, every truck that they get is spoken for. I guess the factory is backed up. The not the factory itself, but the factory that makes the engines. They can't keep up with the orders, and so the plant that builds the truck isn't getting the engines in quick enough to build the trucks. So they're backed up, and so Volvo has become so desperate that they have gone back to putting the Cummins into their engine, into their truck, which I think is great. I like the Cummins a lot more than the Volvo engine, but they just can't keep up with demand. So, you know, they haven't been putting Cummins in the Volvos for a couple years, really, but they've become desperate to sell Volvos, so they've been putting the Cummins back in because the Volvo D13 hasn't been able to keep up with demand. But that means also getting rid of the I-shift and putting the Eaton automatic in, which I hate the Eaton automatic. The only automatic I like is the I-shift. That was actually a good transmission in the Volvo. So the fact that the I-shift would be not discontinued, but it would be not available in a truck with a Cummins, turns me away from buying a Volvo with a Cummins, unless I, you know, buy a Volvo 10 or a 13 speed. But I certainly wouldn't buy the Eaton automatic for the Volvo. But anyways, they were willing to work with me on leasing, on a full maintenance lease for a brand new Volvo, but they aren't going to have any available till December. So I figure what I'm going to do is keep this truck until then, and then, you know, put in an application at the Volvo dealer, and, you know, maybe get a brand new truck through them as a lease. But the payments on the brand new truck, on a brand new Volvo, would be almost half what I'm paying on this truck. So again, I'm embarrassed, to be honest with you, but it gets my foot in the door. And the company I'm at, PDP, is a self-dispatch company. So, you know, for anybody that has been keeping up with the Travelocos and stuff like that, this is a lot like Traveloco, in that, you know, you get, but here I think Traveloco is still only 80% if you lease a truck through them, but here you get 85% regardless if you lease a truck through them or you bring your own truck. You get 85% of the line haul, you get your rate confirmation, you call the broker, you negotiate your rate. I found a great deal on bobtail insurance. I got bobtail, you know, especially in my opinion, for being a new owner operator, I found bobtail insurance for $250 a month from a local insurance agency near my house. So $250 a month for bobtail is, you know, bobtail and personal damage is okay with me. That's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I'm not in the Volvo anymore. I like this truck though. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, I would consider, buying or leasing if International does that. Leasing a brand new Lone Star, or buying a brand new Lone Star. It's a nice truck. I miss the space in the Volvo, especially the 780 and the refrigerator. The refrigerator in these Internationals is tiny. It's like half the size, but it works, and the truck itself is great. I love 13 speed. This is the very first 13 speed I've ever driven, so it was kind of intimidating to me when I first got behind the wheel, because I've literally never driven a 13 speed ever. Only 10 speeds and automatics. But man, the 13 speed was very easy to catch on to. I love it. I love this 13 speed. So yeah, that's the deal right now, guys. As far as my opinion on quality goes, I told the guy, I guess you can call him a salesman. The salesman I used there, his name was Philip Baker, and I told him, that the only thing I really didn't like about quality was the high payments. Everything else seemed to be way better than before the barrier to entry, took place in September of 17. It's to me, it's just a better experience than what everybody on Facebook made it, or YouTube made it out to sound. But you don't hear very many reviews on quality anymore since that took place, and I guess it's because not many people are doing it. I mean, like I said before, if you had a Pulse and a CDL, you could get a truck, and that raised the stakes for, or the risks for quality, because they were getting trucks back more that were junk, because the people that were leasing them were paying nothing on them, and so they weren't really, they were paying nothing up front, so they didn't really have any skin in the game to gauge their, to be more responsible, I guess you can say. And like I said, it went from being 50 people a day to 3 people a week, and that's good. I'm glad. But anyways, I'm baking right now. It's 103 degrees down here in the Dallas, Texas area, and like I said, this truck has the APU, but it is so hot down here, and I even let the truck I let the truck cool down with the AC and everything, as I drove to this Love's truck stop on the south side here. And that electric APU back there, man, it is just trying its damnedest to keep that sleeper cool. I've got the metal, or the middle curtains closed to contain it a little better, but damn it is hot. It is really hot down here. Being in a black truck doesn't help the matter. But with that all said, guys, I'm gonna get off here and relax. Tomorrow we finish the orientation. We put the decals on the truck. We sign up for some of the load boards, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, you can use, as long as it's approved through PDP, you can use any broker you want to. And from the sounds of it, the vast majority are approved. Basically, as long as they have a decent credit rating, they're approved. And they've been doing this longer than Traveloco, and longer than a lot of the other self-dispatch companies out there. So they have a lot more credibility built up on their own. So their MC numbers mean more to a lot of the brokers. And their biggest client, or their biggest customer, is Coyote Logistics. They get a lot of their loads from Coyote. But I'm going to go ahead and get off here and relax and try to cool off back there and get something cold to drink. And we will see you guys all later. And, don't be bashful about quality. I mean, don't let some of the old videos scare you. But be fully aware that the payments are high. Make sure you go somewhere that will give you the ability to pay for the truck, if you just want to use the truck as a stepping stone, to get your foot in the door. But don't get a quality truck if you're going to be getting a by the mile, rate. Like if you're going somewhere that they're only going to pay you $1.30 a mile or something like that. First off, don't go there. But second, don't bring a quality truck there because you won't be able to pay for it. You've got to be able to negotiate your rates and get a pretty decent, percentage. Which, like I said, we get 85%, and we get really good fuel discounts here as well. So, you got to really look at that stuff and, make an educated decision. Which I'm 100% new at this, so don't take anything that I'm really saying as, advice. But it is kind of common sense, though, that you don't want a weekly payment this high if you're going somewhere that's only going to pay you by the mile. Especially if they're telling you where to go. If they're dispatching you and they're paying you by the mile, stay away from quality. And I think that even Philip Baker, my salesman, would agree. I even told him I was going to make a little review on quality, and that because I felt like they deserved it. I felt like they needed some sort of a review, since they really don't have any on there right now, since this down payment issue took place. But okay, guys, for the third time now, I'm going to go ahead and get off here and relax. So you guys take care, and we will see you guys next time. Be safe. Hope you guys are making some money. Later.